this is the monument that has been erected here to immortalise those who fell and to remind us that the fight for freedom is never free. After arriving here through the narrow corridor, which all would have been blocked off, so it's done purposefully as a touch to make you feel enclosed, and it works quite well. But you come through to a much larger space, and it is entirely different to the city beyond, and I'll show you that contrast in a second. After you arrive through the narrow entrance, you'll find various small museums around the edge that are attributed to what happened here and the events. They're very interesting to go and have a look in. And then beyond that, you'll have the well in the distance, the Eternal Flame Monument. So what happened here? On the 13th of April 1919, there was a gathering during the Punjab festival of Baisakhi. The British had created something called the Rowlatt Act that allowed the British to detain Indians without any cause. There were around 15 to 20,000 people here in this square when Brigadier General Dyer turned up and without any warning started firing on the crowd. The firing lasted about 10 minutes, and it's believed there are 1,650 bullets shot in that time. People were scared and tried to run, but the exits were blocked. For that reason, people jumped into the well beyond that we've already seen in an attempt to escape and flee. It's not known how many people died, but it's believed over 1,000 people did die here. After this massacre, there was a bigger push for Indian independence, and some even argue that this is what caused that push for independence. People like Gandhi abandoned the moderate stance that they were taking in India and pushed for full independence. So this is the monument that has been erected here to immortalise those who fell and to remind us that the fight for freedom is never free, and those who fight for it should never be forgotten. This is the scene of the uprising of India's independence. It's a really important site. It's not as famous as the Golden Temple, but it's exactly why I'm here to show you it now, because it shouldn't be missed if you are in Amritsar. It's just 500 metres away, so if you are here, please check in, please have a look. You'll get a totally different vibe to the city vibe that we have just come from. You can feel it, you can hear it, you can see it. It's a lot quieter, it's a lot more respectful, and it's important. So as we exit the memorial, regular street life in India continues. But the next stop is the Partition Museum, so we're going to head there now. Going to grab some water on the way through because it is hot again. It's not as hot as it was in Delhi. It's only 35 here, but more manageable. Hello. So we'll go over to the Partition Museum, have a look at that. Make sure to watch the episode on the border between India and Pakistan, because this museum will open some further light to that. It was a line that was divided by the British, unfortunately again, and we're going to explore the history and the importance of that now. This is the main city centre to Amritsar, and it's totally different to the side streets that you get immediately just off. So, for example, I've walked an extra 50 metres here, and you go from what feel like back streets to quite a modern city centre that's much more clean, much more vibrant. There's people selling things, there's people just going to the temple mainly, and having a good time. And it is definitely a different vibe to those back streets that we are usually accustomed to and what we think of when we think of India. So it's a nice look, and you can see how clean and crisp it really is. No, thank you. So I'm going to see, nice, clean, tidy, spacious. People are polite. People are going about their everyday lives, doing their thing. I might try and buy some sunglasses while I'm here, but I'm slightly worried about how much that's going to cost me if I get them off a street vendor, but we'll see. Anyway, on to the Partition Museum. I ought to say actually, these are the holy gates. So once you pass through here, there is no smoking at all. Not that I smoke anyway, but they're the points where things become a lot more symbolic and important. You can see they're worked at the top with Jali screens, and they're just gates that bring you into the very centre of the space. They're very pretty actually. You can see multiple of them dotted around the city, and it's almost like a portal taking you through to a more spiritual realm, which is quite cool because you pass through one portal to get into the city centre, and then you'll go through another gate to get into the actual temple, which is like another layer of symbolism and religious importance. So you can see how nice this area is. There's even a big statue down the bottom. Let's figure out what that's for, and I will let you guys know. But I'm just walking over to the Partition Museum. There's a guy with a lot of sunglasses. I'm okay, thank you. Thank you. And this is the museum. So this is the Partition Museum. So I've just got out of the Partition Museum, and I wanted to give some reflections really quick because it's quite a hard museum to go through. I mean, there were some real cruelties from the British, and the work that Cecil Radcliffe did on drawing the line for partition. He only had 5 weeks to do it, and he said he did the best he could with that time, but he just needed more time, and it was clear, so the results from drawing that line were 18 million people, or up to 18 million displaced, and it's believed up to 1 million people died because of it, from transitioning from Lahore to Amritsar, or Amritsar to Lahore. Amritsar became basically the first stop and the first call to the refugee point, and it was the same for Lahore on the other side, and people were using the trains to basically get from one place to the other. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
Where are you from?
England.
Hi.
Nice to meet you too. Are you going in the museum?
Yes.
It's a good museum, but hard.
It's a beautiful place.
This is a beautiful place. Yeah, I didn't realise it used to be. It was burnt to the ground, or it was burnt during the partition. Did you know? This building is actually the old town hall. It was burnt to the ground. You see, it's been refurbished and it's been turned into the Partition Museum. That religion was a huge part of a lot of the issues. The divide between Sikhs, Muslims and Hindu people, and where they felt their position was on that border. And the interesting thing is the border was drawn on the map, but it was never really physically there. It's just crazy when you think about it, how borders can divide us in such a way and cause uprising and riots. It's still done today. We still see it today, of course. But there was nothing physical there. It was purely an imagined line, literally a line on a map. So they started developing and setting up things to create a physical barrier, which we now see today at the border, and that's why that ceremony is so important and why it is so worth going to see, because it was a tragic time in the affairs of humankind, and it's hard to go through that museum, but it's also important to, because whilst Cecil Radcliffe did the best he could, he said he would have needed 2 years, if not more time than that, to get this right. And it wasn't just religion, it was language. There were partitions of language, there were partitions of religion, there were partitions of basically families from place to place. And these first stops, Amritsar and Lahore, became devastating epicenters. So that is where we are going to leave it for this episode of Backpackers Blueprint. I hope you enjoyed these reflections. Slightly different episode, I know, but it's super important. I wasn't able to record inside the Partition Museum for obvious reasons, but hopefully we understand Amritsar a bit better now because of this episode. Next time we're going to Jodhpur in the heart of Rajasthan, so make sure to join me then. as we start to explore the architecture of Rajasthan and all that it has to offer. Catch you there. We missed the bus, but we've just caught up with another bus. That is our bus, they're boarded. That's the bus behind us, we've made it, we've found it. Can't believe it. The other bus driver caught us up. We're officially here. One of those beds up there is mine, and I'm looking forward to getting into it.